If your container tomatoes are flowering but not fruiting, the usual culprit is blossom drop from heat-stressed roots, uneven watering, and pollen that never quite does its job. I'm Grant, Fiona's here, and this is Root Insect.
First action. Check moisture 2 inches down, not just the dusty surface. And water deeply only if it's dry there.
So the plants can look heroic in the morning, then by mid-afternoon, the leaves are curling like little canoes, the potting mix is pulling from the sides, and the flowers are already filing resignation papers.
Dramatic, but yes. Containers make tomatoes less forgiving. Not impossible, just fussier, because roots heat up faster, water swings harder, and nutrients wash out every time you water.
And the flower is where the whole thing falls apart, right? Tomatoes don't need bees the way squash or cucumbers do, but the pollen still has to move inside the flower.
Exactly. Tomato flowers are self-pollinating, but pollen still needs decent conditions to loosen and land where it belongs. When the plant is stressed, flowers can yellow at the stem and drop before fruit forms.
Okay, segment time. The common garden mistake. The tempting wrong move is treating a tomato in a pot like a tomato in the ground. Same sun, same watering schedule, same expectations.
And that's where the container plant says, no thank you. A tomato in garden soil has a bigger root zone and more temperature buffering. A black plastic pot on concrete can turn into a root sauna.
Root sauna sounds like something sold at a suspicious spa.
With a free blossom drop treatment. Heat is a major bully here, especially when days are punishing and nights stay warm. Flowers may open, but pollination gets unreliable.
So if someone sees lots of green growth but no fruit, they shouldn't just celebrate the leafy jungle?
Not automatically. Lots of leaves and dropped flowers can mean the plant is surviving, not setting fruit. The article's example compared a lighter fabric pot setting fruit sooner than a black pot in the same general setup. That's not a formal trial, but it lines up with the idea that cooler roots help.
So shade the plant?
Shade the container, Grant, not the whole plant. Tomatoes still need strong light. Morning sun with late afternoon shade can be better than all-day balcony blast, but the key idea is keeping the root zone from cooking.
I like that distinction. Give the leaves sun, give the pot a break. And mulch helps too, right?
A 1-inch layer of shredded leaves or straw over the potting mix can slow drying. Just don't pack wet mulch against the stem. In a container, that can get funky fast.
The article also mentions fabric grow bags, specifically 5-gallon tomato-optimized ones, as a low-cost option for small determinate or dwarf tomatoes.
Yes, with a caveat. Fabric sides can run cooler and air-prune roots, but 5 gallons is still tight for a big indeterminate tomato. And fabric dries faster in wind, so you gain one advantage and inherit a watering chore.
Speaking of watering chores, this may be the part people don't want to hear. Inconsistent watering is a quiet flower killer. Dry Monday, swamp Tuesday, crispy Wednesday.
That stress can make the plant drop blossoms before it commits to fruit. And the surface lies. The top inch may look dry while the lower pot is damp, or a sprinkle may wet the top while the root zone stays dry.
So finger test, 2 inches down. If it's dry, water deeply. If it's cool and damp, wait.
For grow bags, lifting the edge helps too. After a week, you can feel the difference between fine and emergency.
When watering, the advice is not 3 delicate little sips per day, unless you've got an intentional drip setup. Water until it runs out the bottom, then stop.
In July heat, that might be every morning. On a windy balcony, it may be morning and evening. Wind can change the water demand more than people expect.
What about when water shoots straight out the bottom immediately? I always want to say, well, drainage works.
Not so fast. That can mean the potting mix has gone hydrophobic, especially peat-based mixes that dried too far. Set the pot in a shallow tub for 20 to 30 minutes so it can rehydrate from below. Then drain it. Don't leave tomatoes sitting in water all day.
And no garden soil in pots.
Please no. Garden soil can turn brick-like in a container, and cheap bagged topsoil is often worse. Use a real potting mix because it holds air and drains properly. But remember, nutrients don't last forever with frequent watering. You still need a feeding plan.
Can we add a little flower buzzing?
Maybe, but don't oversell it. A gentle tap or buzz can help move pollen when conditions are otherwise okay. It will not fix cooked roots, drought stress, or soggy soil.
Fair. No magical toothbrush heroics while the pot is roasting on concrete.
Fiona's 30-second verdict. Yes, container tomatoes can fruit well, but only if you manage the container as its own environment. Use a big enough pot for the tomato type, keep moisture steady, protect the pot from extreme heat, and don't assume green leaves mean flowers are succeeding. For a dwarf or small determinate, a 5-gallon fabric grow bag can make sense. For a vigorous indeterminate, I'd call that a maybe at best, because root volume gets tight fast.
If this saved even one tomato flower from becoming patio confetti, subscribe to Root Insect. We'll keep bringing practical growing conversations that are useful, honest, and only mildly bossy when Fiona is right. If this solved the mystery, subscribe for fast answers the next time something weird shows up in your garden.
Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com. Conversation